So good evening, everyone. I know that quite a lot of people are still joining as we speak, but big welcome to all of you. And my name is Stefan Puerta, and I'm the Director of Raymac Marketing. And this is your pre-launch webinar for Burleigh Ballito. We are effectively 11 days away from our launch event. Get excited about all different types of launches, but specifically this one, just because of the unbelievably high level of demand we've seen leading up to this launch. The fact that the product offering, I guess, in terms of location, is very, very unique, and we're going to unpack that this evening. And just really, really exciting to have a new product that is so well received by the market in an area that we all know is such a gem in this country in terms of the absolute pocket of excellence. So we've got a panel tonight, and the objective of tonight is really to give everyone a very, very unique insight into product. We want you to walk away from this evening being able to answer or ask any questions, be able to listen from people who know the product exceptionally well or know the area exceptionally well, and just to provide you with all the information you might need leading up to launch, but then also giving you between now and launch to be able to engage further with the team and really understand the process that will be following leading up to the 29th of June. So macro picture wise, I think we know, or many of you will know, what drives Ballito and Greater Salt Rock as an area. I don't know if many of you know, but 42 families move up the North Coast every month, driven by so many different factors: schooling, amenities, a property market that's booming, a climate that is exceptional year round. And we continue to see how that particular area of the country outperforms any other. And obviously very excited and very proud to be introducing a product that does justice to that. And I think if you look at the team we've got here tonight, we've got the architects, we've got the sales team, we've got the mortgage origination team who will help you secure your bond, and then we've got Quibus from more of a macro picture in terms of what's driving the area, urban management, security, and all the different facets that we all look into as an investment. So in terms of this evening, we're going to keep it around 40 minutes, but we want you to please ask any questions you specifically have. If you want to know anything, levies, rates, prices, policies, anything that you may have, we're going to try and answer this evening. You can do that by the chat function at the bottom, and I will then direct them to the different panelists, and I will just facilitate the questions and so forth. We are doing a recording of this, so every single person who has registered as a lead will receive this recording tomorrow, which allows you to be able to share it with friends or family or business partners or anyone who might be interested in it. But hopefully answer as much as you possibly can. And I think just by way of introduction in terms of panelists, if I can start in no specific order, Jared Murray, who's the director of MAP Architects, in my mind, one of the leading architectural firms in the country, and the perfect team to have created the passion and the ethos and the brilliance behind Burleigh. So Jared, looking forward to chatting to you further. How's it?
How's it? Thank you, Stefan. Looking forward to chatting. Yeah,
likewise. And I always say the person you want to hear from when it comes to product is always the architect. What do you need to know? What units are best? What's the ethos behind it? And obviously they generally walk the longest journey when it comes to a project of this nature. Then Quibus Olofse, who is someone who I'm very fond of, and someone that we spend a lot of time engaging with, is the CEO of the Alembe Chamber of Commerce, and an entity that basically knits together private and public sector, and what they do makes Ballito such a unique element from an investment perspective in terms of everything they unlock. So Quibus, really excited to have you on board and for you to chat about what's happening in the area that a lot of people don't necessarily know about.
Hi, Steph. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being here. And then for anyone who's inquired so far, you probably would have dealt with Charmaine thus far. So Charmaine is part of the dedicated development team at Burleigh Ballito, and together with Kirsty, the team who will be walking you through the purchasing process between now and launch and beyond that, and knows the product better than anyone else. So Charmaine, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
And then we always ask questions in terms of how to go about financing. We always know there's a balance between people who are purchasing cash and people who are taking bonds. What's happening with interest rates? what's happening in the property market, and a mortgage originator is generally the best one to tell you about that. So big thank you to Carol House who's joining us from Dream Bonds, and they are the dedicated mortgage originators for Burleigh Ballito.
Hi, Steph. Great to be here. Thank you.
So just going to kick off. I think I want to start with Quibus. I think it's important to paint a macro picture in terms of what's happening in the area, and then we can drill down further into the product and the purchasing process and all the details around it. But Quibus, I mean, just to start, what do you think makes Ballito Village so unique, and why is it that it has such a big appetite for investors?
I think, Steph, you know, I always think when you drive down Ballito Drive and you get towards the village and you descend into the village, just how unique the little character. You know, nowhere on the north coast that we've got a little enclave like we've got in the Ballito Village. You know, it's a real small village feel that we've got at the bottom there. You know, a mix of quite artisanal little eateries and unique restaurants with sea views, and which makes the village, you know, quite a unique offering. And then obviously when you move out of that area into the wider north coast, you look at Ballito, you look at Sharkus Rock, you look at the you know, the Salt Rock and Sheffield developments, all of those that are happening. I think you know, it's a product of the successes that we've had so far. If you look at the number of developers, and especially big developers that are moving into the area, you know, it's standing the investment potential of our region in very, very good stead. You know, if you look at from the south, where we've got, you cross the Tongaat River and you've got developments like Zimbali Lakes coming up, to the northern part of the KZN North Coast where you've got Club Med. You know, I just think the whole region is it's really building on that momentum at the moment. And I think the Ballito Village, you know, if you look at the layout and you look at the environment there, the access to beaches, it's really a unique little offering of what we've got on the KZN North Coast.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think you talk about anyone out of the province. I mean, we all know how unique KZN is and what it offers and the weather, and we know tourists have been going there for many, many years. But you talk to anyone else, you talk to anyone in the Cape, and they'll tell you about floods and looting and tornadoes and MK and all these different factors. But I don't think people actually realize that when you've got things like you say, the pillar of Abalaka's Lakes on the southern side, you've got Club Med, which is the biggest tourism project in South Africa in 35 years. And it's actually, the fundamentals are there for Ballito to go, it's actually poised to go to a whole different level. And that's the exciting thing. And I think there's so many positive things that are just driving that investment growth. And that's why the entire area year on year is doing sort of 5.5 billion in sales, which generally outperforms any other area. So yeah, it's I think we've got something really special.
Yeah, you know, when I went to the launch of Club Med last year, and you know, inevitably you start to compare regions and you know what other people want, and I thought it was quite two things stood out for me. Is that the reason why Club Med settled here, you know, that this is one of the unique areas in South Africa and probably Southern Africa, and where, you know, you've got beach weather 12 times a year. And in the article that was quoted in, one of the tourism chiefs of the Western Cape mentioned, you know, that's one of the things that he wished they had, you know, that they just haven't got a resort climate, you know, to attract people on a regular basis for 12 months a year into their area. So yeah, from that point of view, and hospitality, residential, we're living in a unique little zone.
So Jared, I mean, we look at the sites. I mean, I think anyone who knows Ballito Village knows the Burleigh sites. I mean, I've been amazed at the amount of people who've said that they just can't believe that that's been unlocked from a development perspective, understanding the proximity to retail, the proximity to the beach, and so forth. Talk us a little bit about the journey to get here in terms of, from an architecture perspective, a vision, and then how do you put a product that does justice to everything?
Great, thanks, Stefan. So yeah, we've always been very passionate about the Ballito village. Our offices are down here. Offices have been here for many years, and have always been excited about doing new development in the area. We do feel like this area does need the development and new growth and stimulation, and I think this building is that perfect opportunity to kickstart, something in the area that's going to influence, a lot of growth and all of that. And we looked at the site, quite a challenging site in terms of its shape, having a bit of a wedge shape in the corner, but also that gave us an opportunity to create something really unique and special with that kind of corner of the building, which is very open and welcoming and kind of transparent. You see through it. We didn't want to create a building that had any back hard areas that kind of felt like a back of house or was facing its back onto the area. So if you have a look at the building, it's quite different, where each facade of the building has been treated quite differently. So the facade of the building, which faces back to the Ballito village, is a different kind of design. Got some movement in it with the waving balustrades. And also we also chose that we wanted to put some units on that side facing back into the village. We didn't want to just have empty walkways at night that kind of didn't activate the street. So we felt by putting our 1-bedroom units facing back onto the village, you kind of activate that area at night. You've got the lights on in the building and really go back to that street edge. And then on the other side, where we've got obviously our amazing sea views, we wanted to kind of have the glass balustrades, and it's all about the views and living and big balconies. So that's what kind of influenced the look of the building was the different street edges. So even, for instance, the big fire escape stair, instead of having an enclosed stair, which is just like a big blank box, a big wall facade, we chose to rather open up the staircase and kind of make it a sculptural feature, so you can see people moving up and through the building. They choose to use the stairs, so that the whole building is kind of active and gives back to the street edge rather than just being like a big blank wall. And I can talk a bit later on about the use of materials and all of that.
And then just quickly, I mean, we've all got backgrounds, all sitting in different spots. I mean, just if you had to touch on where Carol's sitting, where you sitting, Charmaine, I mean, what are we seeing there?
So those are where Charmaine's sitting. That is pretty much a typical bedroom layout, main bedroom with the sea view. So all of the main bedrooms in the units have the sea views. We felt that was quite important. And also you can see in that image there, like the full height doors. That's also the design. We wanted these flat slabs that kind of took the inside-outside feeling with no like low beams or anything. And so the full height doors really open up that connection to the sky and to the ocean. And big overhangs to kind of protect us from the harsh sun, but also getting that morning sun into the unit. Where I'm sitting, that's looking out of a typical the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom layouts are quite similar in terms of the kitchen and lounge layouts. We decided to create like a kitchen nook that so we weren't trying to squeeze the kitchen into the unit to make it quite tight. We created like a bit of an alcove where the kitchen fits into. So when you walk into a unit, you still see right through the unit. And the kitchen is a bit more, we've got an area where that's a cleanup area, so it's not always part of the space. And where Carol's sitting, that's one of the corner units. Those units are going to be spectacular as well. The top floor, you're going to see all the way to Durban, wraparound balconies, something really different and unique. where you sitting, Stefan, that is pretty much the elevation I was talking about that faces back onto the Ballito village, onto where the spa is, same where Kobus is sitting. So that when we're looking at the building, I thought that elevation was actually one of the most important ones, you know, because the rest of Ballito looks back at this building. It needed to be something quite beautiful, almost like a ship also on the horizon.
I think you guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
And then Charmaine, I mean, like I said, 11 days away from launch, only 30 units. I know we're all expecting a sellout on launch day. What's driving the level of interest?
Yeah, I can just maybe reiterate everything that Kobus has said specifically. I think the uniqueness of this development, it is going to add to the value of whether you're a business owner, whether you're a holiday maker, whether you're a tourist or a professional wanting to just quickly come and sleep over for a night or two. It really adds to the quality of what the Ballito village were waiting for quite some time. The quality of the finishes, as you said, Jared, the people love it when I explain the full length doors and the overhang of the patio, of the patios, and even the cement finishes of the ceilings, put it that way. So there's no kind of a ceiling that can, you know, water can come through. So there's a lot of thought that went into it, and well done to you, Jared. The feedback from people who come and want to buy there is people who actually realize or have been waiting for this to happen. High-end finishes, specific units that all face the sea. That's the most wonderful thing of it all. You know, one will ask, okay, so tell me which one hasn't got a sea view. There is nothing that hasn't got a sea view. They all in front have sea views. They all, the units on the furthest corner, the northeastern corner, they cater for families, for people who doesn't want to be in the middle of all the hush and all the noise and whatever, because they totally on the corner. When you go to the unit where Carol is sitting in, there we didn't really have interest there yet, but I think that is coming very quickly because people are starting to realize this village is going to change. And Ballito has been waiting for that. The market has been waiting for that. People want new, people want fresh, people want a more modern attitude of, you know, what is happening. And I must really say, Burleigh, it is ticking all those boxes. And as I said previously, what more do you want? To come, drive into your parking bay, get into the lift, go up to your unit, and you never have to get into your car again, because the village just gives you everything you need. Everything is there. You don't have to see your car until you leave the day, have it washed also in the village while you grab a breakfast and on your way. So everything is perfect. This is the easiest product to sell to somebody. And it's within the price range that is affordable for people, because people out there will pay for what they want. You know, with all due respect, an older unit always needs, there's a leak, or there's something, or the main bedroom doesn't face the sea, or it's, you know, all like too small, or whatever. There's always something that a buyer wants to change. In this instance, I haven't heard one saying to me, I don't like this layout, or if I could, I would have gone for that one. They know what they're looking for because of your marketing, of course, being done very well. People know what they want the moment they get through to us. And that is the most amazing thing. It's a product that is just working.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, I mean, we released the North Coast report at the end of last year, which I think will be really useful to share as part of this for anyone who wants context in terms of what's driving the area. But there were two things that really stood out. It was the amount of people moving into the area. It was the age groups that really dominated, driven by the facilities, the amenities, and so forth. But also the massive discrepancy in price between homes within estates, either homes within a secure environment like Burleigh, for example, or within estates in terms of the pricing premium that those attracted, but also the significant difference in price point achieved within newer product versus older product. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. We know it's quite unique to find a new product that has a blank canvas in the area, but also just the premium that comes with the ability to have a secure lockup and go address with everything else on your doorstep. And I think just, Charmaine, before I bring Carol in, please can you just recap again in terms of what the different unit options are and the pricing within each. And then at the same time, I just want to throw in a question from Virgilia, who just asked, do the one-bed units also have sea views? And thanks for that question. And please, I ask anyone else who's got questions. We're going to try and get through as many as we possibly can in the session.
Okay, just to answer the one bedroom, they're actually more studios because it's no inside walls. They don't. That's the only ones that does not have sea view, and there's only 6 of them. They are at the back of the building, so they will be facing towards the village, and they don't face towards the sea. So all the other ones around it, from the corner unit to the other corner, they have sea views. Then the pricing, if I could try, and I'm just going to give a broad from this price to the next price. The studios go from 995 up to 1,385 million. The 2 beds start around 3.6 up to 6 million. And the reason for that is that these front units on the tippy tip, it looks to me like the Titanic, Jared. So there where you can actually stand and you do your thing, those units there are the prime units of the development. So they are actually 2 bedrooms. So that's why it goes up to 5.9 million. But the 2 bedrooms that is in the middle of the building facing the sea, they start from 3.6 up to about 4.5, 4.6 million. Then you've got the 3-bedroom units. The 3-bedroom units are in between the 2s, also quite nice. Some of them have got a little bit of a skewish window that brings in the southern view of the sea and also a bit of the east. And then in the middle, only an eastern full sea view. They start from 4 million up to about 5.3. And then there's the 4 beds. There's 6 4-beds on the 3rd and the 4th floor, 3 each, starting from 4.9 up to 5.2. I must just point out that the units rise in price. They get more expensive the higher up you go. So when you start on the 2nd floor, you'll get a 2-bedroom on the 2nd floor for 3.6. But on the 4th floor, there is only the 2-bedroom on the corner. The middle is a 3-bedroom and then the 4 bedrooms. And then on the side again, on the northeastern side, there's another 3-bedroom, which is also very, very nice and seems to me very popular units.
Okay. Looks like the Titanic, just a much better outcome, hey?
Oh, mine. I'm telling you, if I had so many people coming in and the ladies, they'll just throw that stance and it really, it awakens a sense of excitement and people just love it. People just love it. So, yeah, very excited.
So there are quite a few questions, and Jared, I'm going to get to your questions in a sec. Carol, I mean, a lot of people do understand the process, but I don't necessarily understand the benefits of using a mortgage originator in a purchase like this, and also the benefits of utilizing bank funding to secure a purchase price. Can you just elaborate?
Yeah, sure. Look, having a bond originator is having like a bond PA, which is absolutely great. In the days we live in, our lives are so fast, so busy, that we don't have time, or the clients don't have time to follow up with the banks and get the documentation ready. I mean, sometimes the process is quite smooth. Other times the banks might come back with quite a lot of questions. So where we come in, it's literally a one-stop shop. So you fill in one application, we submit that through to all the banks, and we follow up daily with those banks and give you daily feedback on what is required or where we're at that moment. So generally, it just makes the process a little bit painless and stress-free for the client. Buying a property shouldn't be stressful, and especially a beautiful property like this. So we take that away. Also, we know all the bank's products and how they work and what they need and the type of things that they look at a client. For instance, it's not as simple as just submitting an application. We look at the credit profile, at the client's history, how they've been paying their accounts over the past few years, how their affordability is, and the type of client that it is, because that will ultimately depend on the type of loan that they'll get. So it just makes it a whole easier process for the client. And also, the benefit is your own bank won't necessarily give you the best deal on the first offer. So we can negotiate with the other banks, engage with the client. They might have 2 or 3 bank accounts. They might choose one bank over the other. And then we'll have that conversation with them and see which way we need to push and motivate a little bit harder to get them what they want.
And then, Carol, I mean, we all know that banks are hungry for business. And we also know that half a percentage point or even 0.25 can make a significant difference over a 20-year term or 30-year term. What's your advice to someone who assumes that their private banker is their route to getting finance? And I'm saying this with all due respect to banks, but sometimes people don't understand that the ability to shop around does give them some serious bargaining power.
Yeah, no, it seriously does. Like I mentioned, your own bank doesn't necessarily give you the best interest rate or the best loan. We see that on a daily basis. So it's just been able to have that buying power or negotiation power and giving the client the best deal that they need to get. And that does make a big difference. Look, over 20 years, a 0.5, it does matter if the client has a degree or not with some banks, but 0.5 over 20 years absolutely makes a big difference, especially in a time where if you revert back to COVID, where we were just over 7%, I mean, that was just great. We're just not there at the moment. So if we can get a great client prime rate or anything less than prime, I mean, that's absolute phenomenal.
Yeah. And then, sorry, just one last question while we're talking about it. So we don't have a crystal ball, but we do know that there are a lot of positives coming to market, but we also do believe that, well, a lot of us believe that we are at a peak in our interest rate cycle. And we know that when interest rates come down, it has a massive impact on investor sentiment and stimulates the market. We saw that post-COVID, and we know that there are lots of different factors we can't control. But what's your forecast? I mean, are we at the peak of our interest rate cycle?
Yeah, this great crystal ball that we have to use for this one. Yeah, so it's pretty stable at the moment. It's not. We were anticipating a cut during the first quarter of the year, which then didn't happen. But on the positive side, it stayed the same. So it's not going up. We are anticipating a cut in the last half of the year. So hopefully, if we can be very positive, a 0.5, but more on the side of a 0.25, sorry. And then it will start going down and stabilize again. So it is looking very positive. And I think it is going to make a difference for people with bonds. You asked earlier, what is the benefit of bonds? I mean, if you've got the cash, then great, you can do it, but not everybody is in the position. Or if you don't want to use your cash, that it is stuck in the property. The bonds is a great opportunity for you to do that if you may be looking at other investments, you can still spend your money there. So that also helps.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is that when you bond, you might have cash, disposable cash, but when you bond, obviously there's certain security from the banks in terms of what they require around delivery and so forth. So you do have an extra layer of protection, which is in the consumer's best interest.
Yes, of course.
So I just want to get through some questions here. Jared, I'm going to combine a few questions. Demiso has asked about the studios, about do they have a balcony, and I think Jared's asked a similar question, Jared from Rhiannon, about will they have privacy between the different units.
Yes, so the studio unit does have quite a big balcony, in fact. So a lot of space. You could definitely put a table out there and even entertain out there. And there is privacy between all the balconies. So they will definitely be closed off. In some instances, it will be a solid wall with some kind of screening above, but the timber screening will be made in a way that it still completely blocks out any view to the unit next door. But that would only be at a specific height. So up to one point, a certain height above eye level, it's all solid. So privacy won't be an issue between specifically at the studio, it's completely private. Yeah,
okay. And I think that is another thing to bring into the product. I remember when we first saw the layout, you sometimes get very pleasantly surprised with the size of balconies, because balconies do cost, and very often developers will try and make the balconies as small as possible to bring the price point down. And I think that's the amazing thing about Burleigh is this balconies just allow that coastal living that we're all looking for, hey?
Sure, exactly. And it was also a way to get additional area for the developer, because some of the open balconies don't count as area. So we were able to kind of maximize on the developable area by making the balconies more substantial, and it just lends to that indoor-outdoor living. I mean, you can't have it without. In the climate in Durban, if you don't have any overhangs above big open pieces of glass, I mean, you can't really sit outside or sit there, because it's just, you get hammered by the elements. The balconies really do help. I mean, you can sit with your doors open and then sit in your living spaces and kind of enjoy that open feeling without being exposed to the elements. Protects your furniture.
Yeah. Quibus, I mean, a question, and it's something I would have wanted to ask you anyways. It says, how does the urban management Ballito ensure a high quality of life for its residents? And before you answer that, I mean, I think it is important to stress that is what has driven significant value in Ballito in terms of the urban management precinct. And I mean, now Brian Wright and all the guys have done an exceptional job, and you work with them on a day-to-day basis. But what does it actually entail?
Yeah, I think one of the things that between Charmaine and myself we haven't mentioned yet is that the people that have been down to the village, I think one of the things that immediately catch your eye, apart from the unique environment and little enclave and all of those words that we use, is that it's an exceptionally neat and tidy spot. So the village is smack bang part of the precinct that is managed by the Ballito UIP, the Ballito Urban Improvement Precinct, the special rates area that was established by a number of business people that drove the process to establish supplementary services in the precinct, and the precinct starts on the top as you come off the N2 in the Ballito Business Park, and then meanders down the Ballito Drive into the village. And it works with the business community, but also on behalf of the business community in a public-private partnership with the Quadakuza municipality, with Caesar Water, and some other public sector stakeholders. And there's probably a focus on 3 or 4 things, Steph, from a management point of view. So obviously the cleaning and the greening, how the area presents itself, the public open space and how it presents itself, the aesthetics, a bit of landscaping, and then obviously security and safety is a significant component as well in terms of the precinct management offering that comes through the Ballito UIP. And I think what if you look at public open spaces, and I'm just talking about the village now in itself, if you would walk out, that would include areas like the promenade. It would include the beach areas. It would include, Salmon Bay and the cleanliness there, and how quickly, if there is litter, how quickly does it get cleaned up? Working with the municipality, to make sure that there's an effective service. The amenities on the beaches, the tidal pools, to make, and also, unfortunately, the antisocial component will always rear its head, but it's also to try and manage and control that in support of the Quadakuza Community Safety Directorate, as well as the SAPS. So that's the contribution, that the precinct management entity of the Ballito UIP would make, and that I think Burleigh would be in a unique position, probably the best of all of the residential positions, to benefit from that management.
So effectively helping public sector with its service delivery in a way, hey?
Yeah, it's supplementary services. I think one of the things that we always try and manage is, what are primary services, and that we don't start getting involved in the services that are supposed to be delivered by the municipality. But definitely, how do you complement those services? And I think landscaping is probably a perfect example. There's a big difference between making sure that the lawn is mowed, once a month, to actually landscaping and just tidying and neating up the area a bit and making it look fresh, and planting trees and flower beds, etc. That does not necessarily fall within the primary services, and it's that type of service offering.
Okay. Charmaine, I mean, a couple of questions. One from Destin Chetty, just in terms of facilities and amenities at Burleigh. Maybe cover that, then I'll ask you a few more, if you don't mind.
Yes, sure. So all the units are comes with solar geysers. So every unit will have always have hot water, whether there's load shedding or not. And then they come with gas stoves. They will be inverter ready, and they come with a single air conditioner wherever you want it. If you don't opt to where you want it, it will go into the main bedroom of the unit. That's covering the unit itself. Then if we look at the development, there is an allocated parking bay for each unit at the moment, which I actually think when the body corporate is formed, they might have to add another one to the bigger units, the 4s and the 3s. There is more than enough parking bays to be able to do that. So there's also parking space for disabled people. The access to the parking, so the basement underneath the building, underneath the 4 floors, will be accessed only at one place. So there's not an in and an out, there's an in and an out which is the same. You're going to go in there and out there. There's only going to be one gate, and that will also help for the security. Then the amenities around, I think Kobus has covered that. There is just about everything in the village at the moment. The only thing it still needs is Burleigh. There's restaurants, there is the cheaper restaurants, there's the upper class restaurants, there's hairdressers, there is coffee shops, there is, if you want to entertain somebody and not in your unit, there's nice entertainment spots, cafes where you can lounge. The beach is just there, walking distance. The tidal pool is down the road. What else can I say? You can grab a beer in the afternoon if you're fed up with your unit or the people in your unit. Just across the road, everything is there. You really do not, the spa is there. And Warsa's meat, I don't know if you know Warsa's meat, but the most fantastic butchery in the whole of South Africa. We have got one in the spa in the village. So even that, if you come from Pretoria, you don't have to bring your meat, you just get it there. There's a pharmacy, there's doctors, there's everything in the village of Ballito. I don't know, maybe somebody can ask if there is something that I did not mention. There's laundries. What else? Everything is there. I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. It does answer my question.
There's also a launch site, Steph, just to try and find something that Stephanie hasn't mentioned. And Charmaine hasn't mentioned.
Sorry, what was that?
No, Cobus is talking about the launch site. We're very close.
Of course, that's the actual spot.
Charmaine, 2 questions. Indemisa's asked it, so has Jared, in terms of how will short-term rentals be applied? And then the second one, just from Joanne, is in terms of security and levies. You maybe just treat those 2 questions differently or separately.
Okay. All right. So letting, there's going to be various options, of course. I am of the opinion that you will be able to cover just about any kind of letting in Burleigh. There is the holiday letting, which will be kind of seasonal. There's a out of season, then there's a in season, a semi-season, and a peak season. That they all you charge different prices for that. I've actually looked at that. They're very good. Then there's the long-term rental, which I also think will do good in Burleigh because of its proximity to younger families that don't want to or can't afford to buy when they come here, but they want to come live in Ballito. We get a lot of professional people who actually still work in Pretoria or Cape Town or whatever, but they want to give their families this kind of a lifestyle. So what they do is they move the family here into something like this, sign a long lease, and they fly out on a Monday and they come back on a Thursday afternoon. So the mom will drive around with the kids. That's the perfect long-term rental. Yes, your yields are worked out. If you do short-term holiday letting, can go up to 10%. I think we settled on about 8.2 when we had the discussion, Stefan. But I really do think because of the ideal setting and what it offers, you will be able to manage a very good yield. The security is, as I said, there's only going to be one entrance, which is, to my knowledge, going to be the face recognition system. So if you're registered on the system as an owner or an occupant, you will be able to stop outside of the gate. The camera will pick your face up, and only on that, the gate will open. You will go in and close, and that's it. You can, of course, then go onto an app and register Carol or Jared or whoever's coming to your unit on that day between those times, and that will also be when read on the system. The other thing I actually missed is there is going to be an elevator. Sorry, it just crossed my mind. So when there's an elevator from your parking bay up to your unit, if you're inside of the perimeters of the development, which is going to look exactly as it is on the brochures and the advertising that's out there, if you're inside there, you're inside. If you're outside, you will not be able to get into the complex as such. So I hope I have covered that. Then the levies will start from about 650 Rand for the studios up to 5,500 for the bigger ones. But of course, that is also just approximate at this stage. When the body corporate is formed, then that will be worked out according to the PQ of each unit. What else was there?
I think that is most of it. What I just want to do before we wrap up is I just want to just share for the purposes of everyone, if I can find it, is I think if can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I just quickly want to just recap in terms of what tools everyone has available. So just between now and launch is first come, first serve. The purchase process will be done online, I think, as many of you know. 9 o'clock on Saturday the 29th is when all sales go live. Everyone who has registered will receive the countdown mailers, and you'll have the ability of two options. You'll either be able to go into the sales office on launch day, where the Rainmaker team together with the sales team will help facilitate your purchase via the tablets that'll be available, or you can do it from the convenience of your bedroom, your lounge, wherever it is that you want to do. The reality is that we do expect all these units to go on launch day, so it is going to be a fastest fingers first type approach to try and make it as fair for everyone possible. So I think those of you who would have gone onto the website thus far, which I think is most of you, just a reminder here that you actually have the ability, there's a chat function here. So if you wanted to ask questions like, for example, let's just see if this works. What are the levies? You've got Bailey, who is our dedicated AI consultant, who will be able to answer all your different questions in terms of what information around the project. So here it spits out what the levies are. You can ask any questions: security, unit options, price, etc. And on the site, you have the ability to go. But in terms of, more importantly, the marketplace, I think, as you guys know, so you have the ability here to go and search by pricing or price point leading up to it. So if you're looking within a certain price point of, call it 3.5 to 4, it's narrowing down your different options. You also then have the ability to narrow it down in terms of what 2 beds within that price point are available. It's highlighting in the context, but it's also highlighting here. And then on launch day, if these are the different units that you're looking for, obviously we have the ability to go through your different views wherever you are. But on launch day, you'll have the ability to, at 9 o'clock, the reserve function will become available. And then you'll be able to go actually physically into the cart. And literally like any e-commerce transaction, you'll be able to make sure that that's the unit you selected, proceed to your checkout. And at the checkout, you'll then have the ability to fill in your details and purchase, whether it be through a Corker or through your credit card. So it's a very, very simple, very safe process. What will happen is once you've paid your 20,000, once you paid your initial amount, it will then that will then go towards your final deposit amount, which will be called for by the conveyancing attorneys. And I think the last thing, Charmaine, if you can just talk to what the process is in terms of launch day, the person's paying their amount, how long do they have to furnish the balance of their deposit, and how long do they have in terms of getting the guarantee for the balance or securing the balance of their purchase price?
Okay, so after they have secured the unit online and paid the 50,000 Rand, they will have 3 business days to pay the balance of the deposit to the conveyancing attorneys. Then in 30 days, the balance of the purchase price must be either guaranteed or paid also over to the conveyancing attorneys. So guaranteed will be a guarantee from your bank or where if your funds are, that's a guarantee. Or then, of course, the other wonderful option will be to talk to Carol ASAP and get your loan in place within 30 days.
100%. And then I think leading up to launch day, we will supply, I know there was a question that was just asked now, we will provide all the different information that you need to be doing. The more, Langalita, I know that's a question you asked, what documentation, we'll explain exactly what you need to provide. The more information you can provide upfront in terms of FICA will fast track the process in terms of getting your bond. And we're going to highly recommend that people who are interested in purchasing, and I know that a lot of you are chatting to Carol and her team beforehand, so that process, you can also understand what your affordability is, and where you stand, but also start securing the different documentation. But I think we're unbelievably excited, and as part of the mail tomorrow, the team will be sharing all the different information. I'm going to ask the team to also share a link for our property market report for anyone who wants to get any additional insights into the North Coast and what's driving the North Coast. Also the link to the property marketplace, which most of you probably have already. On that is also the FAQs, there's the downloadable information like the brochure, etc. And then obviously just to be able to engage with Charmaine and Chris and the rest of the team. I'm just going to ask our team to put that in the chat function below in terms of all the contact details, especially if you want to contact the team straight away now and just ask any specific questions that you might have. But yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful for everyone's time this evening. We could have spoken for much longer. I would love to have chatted to all of you a lot more, but I really hope that this evening has given everyone who is interested in Burleigh the opportunity to understand, number one, the excitement and I guess the hype leading up to it, but just to really emphasize, we know when developments launch off plan, when you get in early and you get the ability to choose the units, when there's scarcity, it's a different thing because you might miss out altogether. But in other cases, it's getting the best units first. And I think in this case, it's a combination of both, but also understanding and remembering the benefits of buying off plan in the sense that you're locking in a purchase price now that will naturally appreciate between now and completion of the building and thereafter. And I think those are some of the fundamentals why we're so excited about this product. But please do, if this is something that you want to secure, please do not miss out. Please chat to the team and please try and get to the sales office between now and launch so you can really narrow down the options that you are looking at. And please try and have 2 or 3 options available. So if on launch day, your option has gone online, that you have the ability to default to a second or third option just to make sure that you don't miss out. But thank you very much for everyone for your time. And yeah, we look forward to talking further and look forward to sending you the mailer tomorrow with the recording of this and all information going forward. But hope that you all have a very nice evening, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very fun. Thanks
Cheers,
all.
guys. Bye.